Greetings to everyone. I'm Darshni Dubra from Physical Science Department. My seminar topic is heat. Heat is a form of energy. Heat is produced because of the vibratory motion of atoms and molecules. Everything around us is made of atoms and molecules. Because of those atoms and molecules always at the vibratory motion. This vibratory motion creates an energy. That a form of energy is called a heat energy. Heat energy can be transferred between the systems with different temperature, between different systems, in sometimes between the same system with a different temperature. Heat can be measured using the unit called joule and calorie. Calorie is the most commonly used unit for measuring the heat, but joule, joule is the SI unit of the heat, standardized unit of the heat. Sources of heat. We can produce heat even by using rubbing our hands together. This is friction. By doing the friction, will be produced from the sun. At the daytime, when we are going outside under the sun, we are always feel a warmth, right? That warmth is heat energy. Sun produces the heat energy by doing fission between sun. Explosions, sometimes like volcanic eruptions, and some explosions made by humans. Those artificial explosions create heat energy. Fuels, by burning the fuels like petrol, diesel, those fuels can also produce heat energy. Friction, I have already told, and electric heater. By using electrical appliances like electric heater, even when a bulb or the fan is run for many more times, there can be heat is produced. When we are touching the motor, we can feel the heat. And volcanic eruption, I have already told about. Then characteristics of the heat. Heat, which we cannot see, we can only feel. Heat is of no shape, no mass, no color, and no order. Heat has no color and order. But when we are mentioning the fire, we use heat. Invisible form of energy. It is of invisible form. We don't see the heat with our eyes. We can only feel the heat flow in all directions. Heat flows from all directions. It doesn't have a directional property. It can travel from hot object to the cold object, which until it becomes in the equilibrium state. Heat transfer from one body to another. Effects of heat. I have already told that atoms and molecules are always at vibratory motion. There will be an energy called a heat energy. When the heat is applied, the vibratory motion always increases. When the vibratory motion increases, there are three effects will be happen. One is expansion, and another is increasing in temperature, and another is changing state. Expansion. Because of the vibratory motion, the atoms and molecules vibrates and forces each other apart. Because of that, the state of the material expanded. For example, when we heat a metal or something, it will expand sometimes, and after sometimes when the heat energy is taken out, it will become into the normal state. And increase in temperature, increase kinetic energy of gases. Because of increasing the kinetic energy of gases, there will be increase in temperature. When we are boiling the liquid, for example water, we will produce a heat water, right? That heat water, when we are applying the heat, the temperature will be increased, changing state. For example, when we are heating the ice cube will become a water, and when we are heating the water will become a water vapor. Those ice cube is a solid becoming liquid becoming gas. And transfer of heat. Heat can be transferred by three methods: conduction, convection, and radiation. Heat energy always transfers from one place to another place. It takes place in different states of substances. For example, if we look into this picture, conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction just transfer of heat. It does not transfer molecules. It is on the standard place. For example, if we are using a vessel where we are heating the vessel in the cooker or vessel in the stove, there sometimes when we are putting the steel vessel in the stove and we are touching it our own hands, it will produce a heat, it will produce a form of heat. But by when we are boiling the water inside is mingling around us, that is convection. But conduction of heat is the heat passed from the under of the vessel to the handle of the vessel. And radiation, radiation is from the sun or from the woods heating, like campfire, like those things, from the sun. If we are I already told that when we are going outside under the sun, we can feel a warmth. That warmth is because of radiation. The sun is of millions of kilometers or millions of years away from us. To say exactly, sun is 8 minutes and 20 seconds away from us, light in the light layer. That we can feel it here. That is because of the radiation. And when we are in the campfire, we can, when we are for example, take a simple candle, and we if we put our hand with in near the handle, we can feel a heat. That is also radiation. Conduction happens in the solids. Convection happens in liquids and gases. Radiation can happens in the empty space. Conduction. Yeah, I have already talked about some of the daily uses of conduction. Conduction can be daily used in like cooking, pressing the iron, using the ironing, we are wiring our clothes. Those are also because of the conduction. And convection. Convection, when we are boiling the water, and forming of land breeze and sea breeze, and like hot air balloons. These are because of convections. This is the actual movement of molecules. Radiation. Feel of heat while near fire. Because of radiation only, black absorbs more heat. So in for summer season, we are used to avoid black. White reflects heat. So in summer seasons, most of people are asked to wear white dresses. Now, the measurements, the things that can be used to measure heat. Temperature, for example, there is a difference between temperature is a physical quantity measured using thermometer. Those temperature can be measured by using the scales like Celsius, Fahrenheit, and Kelvin scale. Kelvin scale is the most used one. When we are using a standardized things, we are using mostly we use the Kelvin scale. But for Celsius and Fahrenheit mostly we use it to, both are mostly used to resemble the most of resemble our body temperature. Heat capacity. The formula for the heat capacity is amount of heat energy required per rise in temperature. Specific heat capacity. Amount of heat energy required per mass and mass into rise in temperature. Application of the things. Calorimeter. Calorimeter is a device used to measure amount of heat gained at lost by substance. Thermostat. Device maintains the temperature of a place or object constant. Thermos flask. Insulating storage vessel. It's that keeps its content hotter and cooler than the surrounding for a longer time. For example, flask. Effects of heat. Heat affects the temperature. It always rises the temperature, increases volumes, brings about chemical actions, and expansion or contraction of a body. For example, heat can change, cause a change in temperature, change in state, change in chemical reaction, change in density, and change in shape. In short. Conclusion. We have come to an end. Heat is a result of movement of tiny particles called atoms and molecules in liquid, solids, and gas. Heat energy transfer from one object to another object by conduction, convection, and radiation. The three methods we have talked about. Effects of heat are expansion, increase in temperature, and change in state. This also we have explained before. Thank you.